Why we should live more like Socrates. If you don't know what this painting is, it's basically Socrates' last moments before he dies. At the time, Socrates is found guilty for corrupting the youth and not respecting the gods of the city. So, the city of Athens decides to give him a death sentence and force him to drink a cup of poison, which is happening right here in this painting. But interestingly enough, Socrates found that the city of Athens was actually doing an injustice. He believed all he was doing was just questioning the city and ultimately seeking truth, which is already a noble pursuit in itself. But where it gets even more interesting is that Socrates' friend Crito gives him a way to escape. And instead of accepting his friend's help and escaping, he decides to accept the death penalty. He thought that even though the city of Athens was doing an injustice, he thought that doing an injustice back wasn't the right thing to do. He thought that since he lived in the city of Athens, he must obey the law, and he must obey the consequences of any of his actions. His friends were completely devastated while he was calm and composed before he drank the poison. And then as the story goes, he drank the poison and died. Now it is somewhat controversial on whether Socrates should have escaped since the city of Athens was doing an injustice by giving him the death penalty. After all, if a law is immoral, we've seen in history examples of where civil disobedience is called for. But that's not the main point of the story. What makes Socrates so iconic and influential is the fact that he stood up for what he believed was right. He cared more on what was the right thing to do over his own life. I mean, he literally chose to die rather than to do what he believed was wrong. This display of extraordinary integrity and prioritizing what is right is what the world needs right now. A lot of us don't do what we believe is right, and we therefore betray ourselves. Many people have certain principles and values but don't act in accordance with it. This is how corruption builds in the world and leads to all the corruption we see today. So we should be like Socrates, not only striving for true ideals, but also living in accordance with those ideals. Even when presented with difficult situations, we should always strive to act in accordance with those ideals. Many people nowadays lose their integrity over just a paycheck. And I believe a lot of corruption nowadays is from good people who can't stick to their principles and lose their integrity. So let us be like Socrates and stand up for what is right and stick to our principles, as he not only thought his philosophy, but lived his philosophy. Subscribe for more.